What is happening, everybody? We are here in late 2017, and Geese has finally been released for Tekken 7. The big boss of Southtown is here to take over the Mishima Empire, and he's going to have to spend all his meter to do it. This character is a completely unique mix. He's not like any of the other hybrid characters, and his meter is even more important than the rest of them. He's got a variety of stuff that really can be maximized, but always has to be maximized or else you're not going to get anything done. The best way to describe him is a character of extremes. He's in your face, he's got built-in mix-up strings that keep you guessing, but really punishable when he does so. If he's far away, he has moves with really good range to keep you out, but the best ones of these moves bring him in. He covers the distance and gets close to you, and he's right back there again. So it really is about managing the flow of battle with his character, and the rest of it is upon you to not take too many risks, but still look badass when you do so. Because you can't just look like a chump when you're playing Geese. Objective number one is to look cool. So I want to describe him the same way I would any other Tekken tutorial character: punishes, pokes, launchers, combos, etc. But the fact that he doesn't have launchers is kind of a different approach to a character. He has one launcher for the most part, but everything else are more like ground string cancel combos. So he's very, very different, but I'll describe him the best that I can in Tekken terms, and I think it all kind of works out once you understand everything from the ground up. Before we get started, though, I want to give a huge shout out to Cody and Seattle Tekken for their work on figuring out frame data as soon as this character came out. It didn't come out on PS4 until a good 12-14 hours after Steam, so I couldn't do any of this lab work to figure all these things out. But I watched Cody stream 5 hours of doing the testing, the sidestepping, the frames, the punishing, and all of that, and then put it all in a Google Doc and, give it to everyone else for use. So the frame data that we have right now is because of him and Will. So big shout outs to Cody and to Seattle Tekken. I will give you links to their Twitters and Twitch streams and all that down in the description, as well as the original data sheet where the frame data comes from. So with that data in hand, we know a couple of things that still fit the Tekken mold as best they can. His 10-frame jab is a good, start like anyone else. 1-1-2 is a natural combo, but it's not a great deal of damage. You're better off to do one into Fudoken. This is one quarter circle back one. Pretty fast, but not like absurdly fast. It is one less damage, but you get the knockdown and the wall splat and everything. So 1-1-2 is not bad. You can hit confirm it because it's a very slow string, just like Mishima's do. But that one gets you the wall the wall splat, and it can be pretty useful. And you automatically start chunking out damage like that when you get wall splash with this character. And 1-2 works if you want to just get used to fishing out jabs. 1-2 is fine. Not a huge amount of damage either way, but that's a pretty nice option to have. The rest are just like a little fallback for ease of use. 12 frames, he has a back 1-2, which is also kind of Mishima-like. It's high, mid, natural combo. Both hits are only -7 on block, so this is safe across the board. That's a pretty nice tool to have. And you can see, as everything he does, he takes big step forward. Look where Heihachi's feet are when he starts, and look where they are when they end. He covers like 4 of those rocks on the ground by being pushed back. So a lot of Geese's moves push him forward, which can definitely work to his advantage in a lot of cases. So back 1-2 is a nice move, covers the distance, decent damage at 12 frames, especially considering it's safe. 13 frames is meaningless. You have this guy, 1+2, and you have down forward 1-1. Neither of those is worth anything to speak of. At least on punishment terms. This on counter hit, you can get some follow-ups. But as far as punishment, these are worthless. You're better off doing back 1-2 and having a safe option. But when you get to 14 frames, you get this. Just back 3-2. Pretty easily hit confirmable. And if you have meter, you can get a full combo off of this. Like that. We'll get more in depth to the whole max system and the special moves and all that later, but 14 frames, back 3-2 is a natural hit confirmable combo. It is launch punishable on block, so make sure you confirm that too and let her go that time. And if you have the meter, it turns into a full combo. So technically he can launch you at 14 if he has the meter to do so. Which isn't quite a Kuma level who can do it at 10, but nonetheless it's still pretty good. At 15 is his standing 2, which might not seem like much of a punish, but the way this character's KOF system works, you can get anything you want, especially if you have the meter. He has specific ways to move from one attack into another, and when you use all of those, you get your damage that way, instead of just hop, kick, juggle, ender, right? So at 15 frames, his standing 2 opens access to all of those tools. You can do all kinds of things. Without meter, that's probably the best you get, which is unfortunate. I mean, you can get wall carry and stuff, but you really kind of need the meter to maximize all of these things. So the fact that he doesn't have the conventional launcher system does limit him a little bit, but if you're good enough at conserving your meter and not wasting it, you'll have it when you need it. So if you actually do get a launch punish coming your way, you'll get the damage you need out of it. And that's at 15, so that opens the door for combos at 15 frames. 16 is this 3-3, which I don't even know if it's worth mentioning. It's almost the exact same range as your standing 2. It's high mid. I don't know. It's there. I don't think it really serves any purposes that your standing 2 doesn't. It's just another attack that, I don't know. It seems like it's worth a mention, maybe because it hits certain follow-ups. I don't know. It doesn't really, though. That's it. Once you get 15, I mean, this is what opens all the doors for you, is that standing 2. You get all your damage through that. So that's all you really need to worry about. As far as while standing, his while standing 4 is the basic 11, just like everybody else. At 13, he has while standing 1, which is that little sideways chop. But that's one of the moves that he can cancel other stuff into. So it follows the same rules as his standing jab. He can do that. He can do while standing 1, quarter circle back 1, and get the knockdown and the wall splat at 13, which is pretty good. Nothing else is a natural combo. He can't do the bigger cancel stuff or anything. The only one you get off these quick moves is this, the quarter circle back 1. Single knockdown. I guess technically he can do it off a duck jab too. That makes this a 10 frame crouching punisher. Duck jab, quarter circle back 1. So for the rare instances where you do want to just pop somebody, you can follow up with that. But otherwise at 13, your while standing 1 leads into that, a little bit more damage. 14 doesn't have anything. At 15, he has full crouch down forward 1, which is that. I don't know why those last 2 moves aren't reversed. Honestly, that should be while standing 1, and this should be full crouch down forward 1. It makes total sense, but it's completely backwards. But either way, 15, he has the down forward 1, you get the whole combo and everything off of that. So it does function as a traditional launcher, just only from while standing state. And at 16, I think it's 16 so far, I haven't seen all the full frame data agree, he has a fisherman slam, which is while standing 2, and then forward 2 or back 2 during that hit, just like Brian's. He can get the combo from that too. So if it's somewhere between 16 and 18, if you get a stagger, like on a blocked hell sweep or something, you can go that route and get a bit more damage that way. But otherwise, because it's sometimes also hard to get used to that input of blocking a low and then hitting down forward. So if you're just used to while standing 2, you can use that same launcher. It'll be a little easier for you to execute it first, but it is going to be a couple frames slower. So be careful. Like, you wouldn't be able to do it on a basic launch like Fang's down back 3. I think that move is exactly minus 15 on block. So your only choice is to nail the down forward 1, which, as you can see, I keep screwing up. That's weird. There it is. Make sure you don't get too wild with your motion. Down forward is all that you want. But that's it for punishers. That's pretty straightforward. He's got the decent ones you need, a good jab one, a decent one for 12, and technically he gets combos at 14, and he gets all the rest of his combos at 15. While standing at 13, he has a good knockdown option, and at 15, he gets the combo. So that's kind of all you need, right, as far as punishment goes. That's the best they could come up with in his system to fit the criteria, to let him maximize his damage at that 15 mark without getting out of control and not being able to just dominate by little tic-tac punishes here and there. So I think that's a pretty fairly balanced load of punishment. There's nothing great in there, but there's also nothing bad. He's not missing any glaring holes. He'll get you a little bit more damage everywhere until he gets his combos. So I think that works out pretty well. For a character who can be played pretty defensively if you want to, that's a good enough foundation to start on. Remember, he's going to have all these parries later on. He's got a lot of good tools to play defense with, and along with that requires good punishment, and I think he's good enough to do that job. So next, let's go over Geese's special moves. Like all of the hybrid 2D characters have, are some motion-based inputs for their fancier moves. One of Geese's signatures is the reppuken, a ground-based fireball. This is just done like any others by doing quarter circle forward with either punch button. The way that his system works is rather than necessarily left punch and right punch, it's based more on light punch, heavy punch, the way 2D games work. So I'll generally refer to these specials as a light reppuken or heavy reppuken based on 1 or 2. I think it's easier that way to avoid any kind of confusion, and it'll make more sense. You'll see the difference when you do the 2 and the 4 versions rather than the 1 or 3. They do seem like they're bigger because they're meant to be from heavy punch instead of light punch, for example. So the first one, a single reppuken and a double reppuken. The single one up close is going to be unsafe on block. It's -13, and the double is 16, but you're going to get pushed a lot further away. So some characters are going to be able to get you, but not all of them. First thing that comes to mind is a Death Fist can probably hit you, or something like Devil Jin's Spear Kick will be able to reach you on block. So do be careful. If you got a character like, I don't know, Elisa tends to have crappy range on her launchers, you could probably do this with a little less fear. Other than that, do be warned that this is hard to get as a natural combo out of anything. That's pretty much the major combos you get starting at 15 frames. These are the attacks where everything else is natural. You can do jab fireball, but they're not going to be natural combos. They're going to get blocked if your opponent's paying attention. So keep in mind that all these fireballs are unsafe, especially the double one, but it can vary heavily on the character. He can also do this in the air by doing quarter circle back punch. And these are also not a good idea because the way that he jumps back, characters can just run up and launch you for the most part. If they just sidestep a little bit, they just run in and have a field day on you. It's not a very advisable move in general. I guess if you're already far enough away, you can do those to start keeping them out, but it's not a very practical strategy. You're not going to win matches by just standing back there and throwing dumb fireballs and hoping you don't get killed for it. So it is there. Later we'll get to the EX version of the move, which doesn't do this jump back and is a lot more useful. But for now, the shippuken in the air, not a very good move. It has its uses in the meta game for keeping your opponent fresh and all that, but not super good in general. Next up is quarter circle back with either punch called Fudou. This is one of his staples, where he has these punch strings and mix-ups out of it. The light Fudou, quarter circle back 1, is just that. It's a knockdown. That's the move we use in the punishment section off of your jab. It's a faster version, so it does combo off of a jab, or this while standing 1, but that's it. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else beyond that, just a knockdown. The heavy Fudou with quarter circle back 2 has extensions. Like that. Follow-ups afterward. Those extensions in the move list, I do not know how you're supposed to pronounce them. They're right here. Fudou un, and ba. I don't know. They don't seem like Chinese syllables or anything. I have no clue. But a, bay, and I don't know. I'm not really sure how to refer to it. But what they are is that punch is a mid punch with a knockdown. It's going to be launch punishable. It's -15, but it's natural. If you do any of these punches into Fudou and you do the mid, this one extension, it is a natural combo and it'll knock him down. The other two, these kicks are not natural, but what they are is a safe mid and launches you, bounces you in the air when it hits, or a low knockdown that guarantees a throw, which is launch punishable. So that's a pretty classic situation. If you don't go for that guaranteed damage, or if you do this and all gets blocked. Like say, for example, you're doing something like this, and that whole thing gets blocked. You can't just let it rip with the follow-up because you're going to get launch punished for it. So when you do these strings, you get to that point where you do Fudou, you have to realize, oh, this got blocked. Let me choose one of the mix-ups and go mid or low with your kick. So in general, that mid punch is the one when the whole string hits and you see it's going well, you can do that one to get your knockdown on the damage and everything. But when the string up to that point gets blocked, you choose between the 3. I should only launches on counter hit, I guess. That knocks down. I never even looked at that. Oops. That's got really good range. No, it doesn't launch you either. I swear I saw them bounce at some point. Maybe that was just a different move. Anyway, the kick mix-ups, that mid, which is safe, and that low, which is launch punishable. They're both going to knock you on the ground. When you do that, you get these ground throws guaranteed. They can't break that throw, and they can't roll out of that in time. So when your string is getting blocked, you have to resort to one of the kick mix-ups out of Fudou, and when you get one, you get that guaranteed ground throw. So you got to keep your opponent on the toes. You can't always go low because the low is the obvious choice, and it's very negative on block. You have to do that mid every so often, which you kind of feel like you're missing out on your turn, because if you just do the mid and they do nothing, you know, they're perfectly fine. So you do have to represent both of them to keep the other one effective. So the light Fudou is just a simple knockdown. The heavy Fudou has the extensions, a natural mid punch and a kick mix-up afterward. Next up is Jaei, which is a half circle back, 3 or 4, both kick buttons. It sounds like he's saying Clay Aiken. I think I'm just going to call this move Clay Aiken from now on. But this is his armor move. He takes a nice little dash. He'll cover some ground if he has to, but if he's up close, he'll start right away. You'll see the 3, he leans in with his shoulder and then pops you once and causes that knockdown. The 4 version of it, he leans in with that shoulder and does a jab and then knocks you down. And you notice it causes that hard knockdown to the ground. So the difference in the two is the light Clay Aiken has a little bit better wall carry. At the end of a combo, you can do things like that and it'll get them the rest of the way to the wall. Whereas the heavy Clay Aiken does not. It knocks them down for a little bit more damage. What was that, 48 for the heavy? 45 for the light. So it depends on whether you need the wall carry or the Oki situation for the most part. I think both versions, actually, to be honest, are going to be minus 14 on block. They are mid armor moves, so they have to be unsafe by the rules. I think they're both minus 14. It doesn't really matter which one it is you do. They're both going to be pretty negative. But when we get to the EX section, you'll see what the difference in using your meter accomplishes. So those are his only armor moves. They're decent. They're not a fast startup. I want to say that these are in the 20s somewhere, and your armor's not going to start right away, but it's all you got, you know? You don't really have any other choices. They're really good in combos. They're really good at the walls. But as far as, like, get me out of trouble armor moves, they're not the best in the game. They're very slow, and they're very unsafe. So that's a kind of a big downside, but if you're going to live your life on your heels counting on an armor move to get you out of trouble, you're going to lose more than you win anyway. So just think of it that way. Think of it as not needing armor moves all the time. You're better off to just use your wits and survive that way. But you have it if you want it. A 3 version and a 4 version, a wall carrier and Oki. The last kind of special move that he really has is this, forward 1+2. This is what kind of mimics the short hop. In KOF, you have 3 different like jump heights, like a super jump, a normal jump, and then a short hop. And the short hop is really hard for you to actually see what they're doing. It catches you off guard a lot. So this kind of mimics the idea of that short hop. And he can also do shippuken from it since he's airborne. So that's another option, which I still don't think is even good out of it. It's just one, it's the only other way for you to do shippuken other than just a raw jump, and still not a very good use. It's not a great move. But what this does is actually function as Geese's only real launcher. Whoops. That's the only move he has, where he knocks you into the air and allows you to juggle. Nothing else does that. It's a very slow move. This is like 24 or something. It's safe. It's high. Oh, that's mid. I actually didn't know that. It goes over lows. He's airborne. He can't be hit low or anything like that. So technically this is a launcher. It's just an unusual launcher, and it's the only one he has. As I said, he doesn't follow the same rules as everyone else, but if you're looking for a move that hits them in the air and juggles them, that would be the one. So that's pretty much it for his special moves. He's got a ground fireball. He's got the punch strings and the palm attacks. He's got the dashing armor moves, air fireball, and this little short hop guy. He's got super moves by using up 2 of your meters by basically just doing double motions. He has that reppuken, but if you do 2 quarter circles and both punches, he has that, which causes a big bit of damage. That can be used in combos at the wall. Tons of options for that. That's one of the better uses of meter compared to the other characters. Akuma, for example, you'll never see him do the super fireball. It doesn't do that much damage. It's very impractical. He's better off saving those 2 stocks for doing his FADC cancels. Eliza, you're only ever going to see it when she's desperate and she can start a combo from a jab or something where she normally can't by spending all of her meter. Otherwise, she's better off saving her meter for the cancels. Geese in general will be that way too. He needs to have the meter in order to convert a lot of his things, but on the other side, that super is actually very practical on its own. You can feel free to use that. It works well in a lot of situations, and we'll cover a bunch of them later on, but that's actually a really good super, and also plus on block, like a lot of rage drives are. That's what these characters have instead of rage drives, is they have super moves. It uses their meter, serves the same kind of function, just like an advanced version of one of their moves, and they're generally plus on block. So that would be a good example of his. That super reppuken is a really nice super to have. His other one is the Raging Storm. This one, on the other hand, is at least minus 16. If you have the range, like I mentioned, Devil Jin or Death Fists, you can get punished pretty hard for that. It's not safe at all. It's, I don't think, as practical as the first one. It seems for now like it's just mostly style points, but it does have its uses. I want to say that this has borderline invincibility to it, that if you're anywhere near him when he starts it up, it's going to hit you. I think this activates in 5 or 6 frames after the freeze. Once he triggers that animation, right there is when it becomes active. So he is almost invincible. You'd have to be right on top of him in order to not get blown up by that. So it's meant to be more of a wake-up super kind of situation. You use it when you're desperate and you need to just get them off you for free. This is closer to that, but if it does get blocked, it is technically launch punishable, so be aware of that. To do the Raging Storm, I think it's better to just take a look at it visually, because it is the classic pretzel motion. You can see the super reppuken was just a double fireball like you're used to. This is not. This is what they call the pretzel. It's down back, and then you jump to forward and do the half circle to back and then down forward. If you just look at like a joystick in your mind, you can see how it traces out a pretzel shape. Down back, half circle back, down forward. So you're going from opposite ends of the joystick to the other. You kind of just have to practice it, but it's really not all that bad. Just think of it as 3 phases. You're holding down back to block low or whatever, and then you just do the full half circle and then diagonal. That's all it is. Half circle diagonal. It's a rhythm. It's not the hardest input in the world. It's up there, you know, to do in the pinch when you need to get them off you with your 5-frame super can be a little hard, but you can buffer it during your wake up and during jabs and stuff like that. So once you get used to doing it, it's not all that bad. It's just not a super conventional move in that regard. It's a lot more situational than the super reppuken. That move is a lot more practical in everyday applications. The Raging Storm has its uses, but they're not as common. This last one is just kind of like an auto super. He just does that. 1-2, 1-2 results in that super at the end. It's not a natural combo, not by any means. But I guess when you have the mix-ups that he does, he's got a lot of these like punch things, different variations of all that. So I guess if you do get wrong and you get caught by that 3rd hit mid, you finish with that, but that seems kind of low. It also costs 2 meters, if you notice, because he is doing the super reppuken afterward. KO-14 does have this. If you just mash out light punch, they'll do like 6 hits and automatically end with the super. Just like an easy mode super combo, but it's not worth the meter in terms of what it gives you. You'd be better off learning how to play the game correctly and use it that way. So this is his representation of that. I don't know how good it really is. I guess you could work it in at like wall combos and situations like that, but it's not really all that useful unless you know you have the mix-up. We'll get to that more later when we go through all these different punch strings that he has, but regardless, that is his other super move, is that punch string that ends in the super reppuken. So those are his two supers, the big fireball and the raging storm. The other thing that he does with his meter is this max mode. He activates this mode where he gains access to better versions of everything. You see it in the move list. It is 1 + 2 + 3. That's if you want to activate it just standing there. If you're just not doing anything, you press all three of those, he activates max mode. And you can see that meter emerges by his super meter that starts counting down. And it allows access to the EX version of his special moves, but starts counting down even faster. Basically, in typical 2D games like Street Fighter, you have a fireball, right? You just do it with punch button. But if you do it with 2 punch buttons, you get the EX version. Faster, stronger, safer, whatever it might be. And it costs you 1 meter to do so. In KOF, you spend 1 meter to activate this mode, and during that mode, you can do the EX moves as many times as you want to, until the mode depletes. So instead of Street Fighter spending 1 move for 1 EX in KOF, and in here, you can spend 1 meter to get, say, 3 EX moves. And that's what gives that game its notorious wild combo system. Here, its best purpose is for combo extensions and to get the properties of these EX special moves. So let's go over them all one at a time, what they change when they're in max mode. And then when you're in max mode, you can still do a regular version of the fireball, and notice it doesn't deplete the meter at all. But when you do the EX version, it depletes a bigger chunk out of that meter. So for, basically in general, they all become plus on block rather than unsafe. This single reppuken was -13, and the double reppuken was 16. Some characters can launch you when they block that. When you're in max mode and you do the EX one, Geese is plus, which is a huge difference. Huge difference. You can just do it out of any old things you want to, and it doesn't really cost you anything since you've already activated that mode. You already spent 1 meter. You can do these as many times as you want to. So that does give him an open season sort of situation to do all these specials and do them as much as he wants to. And as far as we know, they all pretty much become plus on block. Same thing with the Fudou. It doesn't change the mix-ups. In general, when it comes to properties, EX specials will follow the heavy version of it. You can see the EX Jaei knocks them down like the 4-button version does. It doesn't do the wall carry one. But instead of being -14 on block, it's like 0, maybe +1. So that's a huge turn-off. Once you're in that mode, you can do that armor move, get the knockdown in the Oki without being unsafe. So that's a huge difference. He can activate this max mode whenever he wants to for the cost of 1 meter and just gain the ability to kind of go nuts with some of these things. But it's also equally practical to use this max mode in combos for its cancel properties, which we'll get to a little bit later. But by and large, the special moves that come out of it just become enhanced versions of it, and they're usually plus on block. I also mentioned shippuken. You notice he lands directly after that fireball. If I just do a normal one, he jumps way back after he launches the fireball, like its momentum pushes him away. If I do the EX, notice he lands right in front. Oops, it ran out. So he lands right at their feet and is able to continue his pressure or the combo if it connects just right. So that's also a big difference from a super practical move that just gets you into trouble by backing you off to damage that leaves you right in your face with lots of potential and options. Again, big difference when he activates that mode. So it turns all his special moves into advanced, better pressure versions of his special moves. Almost across the board, they're all better. The damage is comparable, but the frames go from marginally unsafe to plus on block, which is a huge, huge difference in this game. So you have that option out in the open if you're, you know, a little bit behind and you want to just kind of start doing some wild stuff to get back into. You can activate all of those things and just start going ham. Throw out your armor move, a plus on block mid-armor move. You have all those options. Good stuff. The other way to use max mode is to cancel out of certain strings and keep going when you normally can't. As I said, 1 + 2 + 3 is how you activate this max mode normally. And in order to cancel these moves, you don't have to do that whole thing. You can do a couple other combinations. For example, his standing 2 is one of those. You just press 2 and then cancel like that. So the two ways to cancel are either just 1 plus 2 or 2 plus 3. You know, either of these two combinations of these moves. They didn't find it necessary you to have to press all 3 buttons during a combo to keep this going, so they let you use either the 1 plus 2, which is what you're doing for Akuma's FADC, or you can use 2 plus 3, which is what the buttons would be in KOF 14. Buttons, what B and C is how you do the max cancels in that game. So if you're used to those inputs, you can do that as well. So either 1 plus 2 or 2 plus 3 lets you cancel these normals right into max mode and keep going. You can see that says 3-hit combo. So all I did was just press my standing 2, cancel it, and then press 1-2 afterward. And it cuts his recovery so quickly that he can go right in and keep attacking. So what this does is allow him to string together attacks that he normally couldn't when they hit, or to make things safer on block when they don't. For example, 2 forward 1 is that string. That last attack is minus 17 on block, I believe. Very launch punishable. Going to get you in a world of trouble. But on block, if you max cancel, you'll be completely safe. If you just press 2 plus 3 during its animation, he cancels immediately, and you can block. So it goes again from an attack. As I mentioned before, if you're seeing your whole strings are getting blocked, you could switch to the kick mix-up rather than going for all out. In this case, you could also do a max cancel to make yourself safe and then go right into a low attack or something like that. So one way to use it is to turn pressure strings into safer strings, and to go, when instead of the opponent knowing, okay, his string is over, let me counterattack him, you get to keep going. You can go right back at them with another mix-up or another pressure situation. So that's the one way to do it. The other way is to cancel moves in order to keep them going on hit for combo's sake. If we look at something like this, back 3-2, that 14-frame Punisher we mentioned earlier, I can't combo that because of the way they knock down. There's nothing there. But if I were to max cancel it, I get that. He cancels his animation so quickly and dashes up that he gets the juggle from there, and I can just kind of do whatever I want. Stuff like that. So that's why he gets a combo at 14 off of that particular move. Is when that hits, he cancels and then goes from there. So during combos and during strings on hit, even say in this case, when you see that hit, you can do stuff like that. The strings that are cancelable, you can either do it on hit to keep going and attack them further, or do it on block to make them safe. So that's really the key to, one, his pressure offense is using it on block correctly, and the key to his combo damage is using it on hit correctly. So I'll go over specifically which moves you can do this out of. It's not a lot. He can't really do it out of anything he wants to. It's a select few. His one jab can do it. His standing 2 can do it. And as I mentioned in Punishers, this is his 15-frame Punisher. And it opens the door to all the other stuff that he does, like that. 61 damage just off of what looks like a normal punch. But the way his system works, that's how he gets combos. So 1 can do it. 2 can do it. His forward 2, that little guy can do it. And then duck jabs can do it. And his sweep can do it. That's essentially it. There's only a handful of moves that he can do this max cancel out of, which is for the best. Because if he could just do anything he wanted to and cancel it, he would turn into Miguel. You know, he would just be able to go from one string to another and not really have to stop because of the frame advantage that cancellation gives him. So we can only do this out of a couple of things. And once you learn defensively what they are, you know when Geese might be trying to set you up versus when he's done attacking. So I'll go over those in the poke list, which ones can do that for, and which ones can't. Generally, they can't. There's only a handful. So I'll mention them again, as well as the full list of what they are. But that sums up his special move section, the things that make him him, as well as the source of his parent game. His fireballs, his punch strings, his dash-up attacks, his max mode, all that fun stuff. That's pretty much the gist of all of that. Those are what make Geese what he is, and those are things you want to build your offense around, just like Akuma and Eliza. You want to use your basic Tekken-style pokes to allow you to incorporate the good stuff that we just went over. So let me take another moment to give a huge shout out to Cody and to Seattle Tekken for their work on testing all these moves, looking at the sidestep, the properties, and all of that. It's a huge amount of work, They were the first guys online doing it as soon as the character came out. So big ups for doing a lot of that stuff just to kind of bring all the community on the same page so everybody can understand this character. I'm glad I sat there for 5 hours and watched it and took notes. So big ups to those guys again. Links to their stuff are all down in the description. A lot of this information comes from their work and expands upon it, but they were a huge help in getting everybody together on our new character. So thanks, guys. As far as Geese's attacks go, it's a pretty straightforward regimen. A lot of up-close mix-up strings and a lot of good rangy keep-out tools. The biggest difference, which doesn't really seem that important to Tekken players, is KOF's command normals. Forward 1 and forward 3 are what they call command normals. In 2D games, you generally like link attacks together. Like in Street Fighter, you could do jab, jab, fierce, for example, or something like Guilty Gear Blaze Blue, you could just do like ABC into special moves and stuff like that. Normal attacks that just link from light to heavy or whatever it is. Tekken has distinct strings, you know, like 1, 2, 3, a different set of actions when you press 1, 2, 3 rather than just 1 and 2 and 3 in order. So it doesn't make that much of a difference here, but what it does in KOF is your normals generally don't link together. You have a light punch and a heavy punch, and you can't just do like light, light, heavy, as I mentioned. It doesn't work in KOF. What you can do is use these command normals to allow you to do a heavy punch into that and then special move from there. Gives you kind of a built-in hit confirm instead of you just having to do one thing. So those command normals, they can vary in properties. Some of them, like Geese's, are airborne, some are overheads. So that's really a big tool in the KOF world, is to be able to link these command normals into other things and command normals into max cancel. So let me start with that idea first, and you'll see why it's so important to mention when you see what forward 1 and forward 3 get you. They are his command normals. They should be listed in the move list separately. Maybe they're not. Oh, there they are. Forward 1 and forward 3. They're unique in KOF terms, and they have their applications here. Just like the list of moves that you could cancel into max mode from, you're going to have a similar list of moves that you can cancel into command normals, basically. Like his standing 2, as we mentioned before. Standing 2 into forward 1 works. Your jab into forward 1 works, but you see it's not a natural combo. And you can't do that out of, say, 3. Your standing 3 doesn't cancel into anything. You're stuck there. So rather than just repeated forward 2s, or standing 2, you have standing 2 into forward 1. That's what these command normals do, is they link out of certain other normals to build your combos and to build your pressure from. So I'll mention as we go through the ones that you can cancel into max, as well as the ones that link into those 2 command normals, because those are paramount in building Geese's strings into Tekken strings and then fitting his combo system. So let's start with his basic jab strings, which there's a ton of. We mentioned in the punishment section how he can do jab Fudoken for punishment, but he has, on top of just the 1, there's a 1-1-2, which is high, 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 it's all natural. Unsafe, which is kind of weird. For a string that's completely high, to be -12 is kind of weird, but that is what it is. It exists to complement the full set of jab pressure. That's 1-1-2, high, high, high. 1-2, as you see right away, is high mid. So if you want to start ducking this high, high stuff, he has those mids to throw you off. So 1-2 is also safe string, high mid, -7 on block, but that's not where it ends. He has 1-2-3, which is the same animation as this command normal, forward 3, and is also +1 on block, like the forward 3. So 1-2-3 is high, mid, high, plus on block. Great string to have. But you gotta realize, well, I don't want to take the frame disadvantage, let me just start ducking that. So what he also has is then 1-2-1, high, mid, mid. You see how that hit is mid? None of them are natural combos. Past the 1-2 point, none of them are natural, so it's a straight mix-up at that point. You do 1-2, and you either do nothing, you do the mid, or you do the high, which is plus on block. Forces your opponent to deal with one of those 3 situations. If you manage that situation correctly, you'll stay ahead of them the whole time. 1-2-3 is definitely the best one, because you need, once you've made them afraid to just start ducking, like if you just do this, you know, just do 1-2, and then hit him with mid kicks or something, you know, like that. They're going to stop ducking in anticipation until they really, really need to. So that lets you get away with the frame trap that is this. And your choices out of 1-2-1. Once that hits, you can do 1-2-1-1, which is another high at the end of it, or 1-2-1-2, which we mentioned in the beginning, ends in that auto super kind of situation. All of these mid options are super negative on block. 1-2-1, that's minus 19. So if they don't duck and they just want to take that, and you stopped right there, that's a huge launcher. So you almost have to kind of keep going at that point. Do 1-2-1-1, which is still minus 15. I don't think you can duck that either. I think that jails. That third hit mid jails you into the fourth hit high. So you have to stand there and block that, but it's also minus 15. You're going to get launched for that too. The other choice is to end with 2 meters to keep yourself safe that way. Not a great situation, but if you want to live that life to just pressure your opponent all day, you have tons of different string options and mix-ups and things like that that they'll never be able to anticipate. So that whole series works together as a family. A lot of characters have that. Brian and Shaheen and Eliza all have a family of 1-2 mix-up strings to keep their opponent guessing. Geese's are just a little higher stakes. Some of his have frame traps in them, some of his contain super moves, and some are launch punishable. So it's a whole variety of options and mix-ups. You need to be in control. If you start losing control of that situation, the opponent's going to burn you, and you should just stop, trying to play that game, move on to something else. So it's up to you as the Geese player to manage that effectively. So that's everything he gets out of 1. 1-1-2 is pretty straightforward. You can't get enough of that. It is unsafe, but it's easy to hit confirm. So you always have that. If you want to just leave it at that, that's fine. Leave all the other mix-up crap on the table. Perfectly reasonable. His other standing normal is this 2 that we mentioned. 15 frame, gives him access to everything. This move is significantly plus on block, so it cancels well into all of his specials. His max mode, forward 3 and forward 1 are all natural combos off of this move. Notice that the 2-3 causes that new spin animation. That will wall splat if it hits. So standing 2 is a great overall move. But it's more like other characters down forward 2. It's 15 frame startup and it's minus 13 on block. So that essentially is a down forward 2 from a Josie or Leo or Dragunov or something like that, right? It's just for him, it's just 2. So it works the same way, same concept. It's where you get your combos from. Startup speed, mid, punished, all the same. So think of that as his down forward 2, you just use it in a different way. 3-3 is this kick. High mid, very unsafe. It's minus 14 on block for that mid. But the reason why it is you get counter hit by that second one. He gets combos that way. I guess if you just want to throw that high out every so often, just do your basic poking stuff, sidestep and you throw this out. They get used to that being the end of your attack, and you throw out the second when you catch them with a counter hit. Also a pretty common thing in Tekken, getting blown up by the existence of a second hit that you don't do all the time. That's why that's there. If you do it all day, they're going to block it and they're going to hit you pretty hard because that's minus 14. So keep that in reserve. Use the 3 as a little quick poke in the face. Honestly, it's not even that quick. It's 16 frames, like I think we mentioned earlier. If you're going to just throw that out, you might as well throw this out and use your options to pressure and cancel and stuff like that. So it's there. If you want to just throw this out here and there and get with that second hit, that counter hit will get you a combo. So that's his 3 button. His 4 button is a slow magic 4. This is also 16 on startup, but it's homing, it's a screw attack, and only minus 3 on block, which is very, very good. And if you catch on the counter hit, you get your whole combo, whatever it is. So it's not the fastest in the world, but it's still very practical. It's got good range. Like everything he does, he takes a step forward. If you look where my feet are, I covered 2 feet. And if I try to stand, right by that one little rock under where it says power, watch where my foot is when he recovers from this. It's almost that rock 2 feet ahead. He covers 2 feet by just step forward with that magic 4. So a lot of his moves do that. They cover that ground really well. Gives him a sneaky good range, especially on a homing move like that where he can combo from. That's a pretty good button all around. 2 is his best button. That's where he gets his combo from. 4 is his best defensive keep-out button, I want to say. As far as just the basic move goes, 4 is pretty good. He has a 1+2, kind of like Heihachi's, except it doesn't knock you down. On counter hit, you get follow-ups, but I'm not quite sure what you really deal with that yet. It's not a super good move in general. It's safe. It's a 13-frame safe mid, so it's not bad. But when you get that counter hit, you get extra stuff, but it's not the best move he has. It's a good keep-out tool. It reminds you of June. She used to have a 1+2 that would cause a crumple stun on counter hit. It was a breakable stun, but a stun nonetheless. If they didn't break it, you got a big combo, and if they did, you still got pressure. So I think of it that way. It is minus, but it's safe on block. So you can do this whenever you want to. Use it to fish for those keep-out counter hits. And if you do get the counter hit, you get, you know, a little bit of extensions. And yeah, I think you can do the super off of that, if I'm not mistaken. Oops. Yeah, that was 60 damage off that little counter hit. If you're prepared to spend 2 bars like that, that is an option. So you can use that safe mid and fish for that counter hit. It's actually a pretty decent move. It's just not like... It's kind of shooting low, so to speak. If you want to get a counter hit, you can get much more damage by spending 2 bars elsewhere, but it does exist. Great keep-out tool defensively. It's not an offensive option, that's a defensive option. So do keep 1+2 in mind. His forward attacks, other than the 1 and the 3, the quote command normals we spoke about, he has forward 2, which is that little back fist strike. This is kind of a fun little thing. It is -14 if they block that. Not great, but if it does hit, you can follow. I didn't know you could do that on block. How bad is that on block? Oh, that's why. It's -9. Like during that animation, if you press 1, you get that knockdown. I did not know he could do that on block. Let me just double check that. Standing guard. That's why. That's awesome. So you can just let it rip no matter what, and that becomes -9. So instead of just doing this all day and being -14 on block and taking a huge punish, you can just do the 1, and that's safe. Wow, this is crazy. I want to go back and double check that that's only -9, but I'll take their word for it. If it's different, I'll put something in the description, an update. So that forward 2 gives you that little double hit, which is nice for several reasons. It gives you time to see what's happening and to connect your 1, and you can also max cancel this. This also functions as a launcher stand. Like that. Once the impact is taking place, you can float them out of that nosebleed state. You can do 2 forward 3 or whatever it is. So once that has hit, you can confirm that into a max cancel. That way. So that's really good all around. It's slow startup. It's 20 frames to begin, but since you can do the follow-up on block and it's safe and it wall splats on hits, you could do all sorts of things with that. Out in the open, you still get a combo with meter, and at the wall, you still get that. So that's a pretty good tool all around, and it looks awesome. That's one of those things that I said about you need to look like a badass when you're Geese. You can't be looking like no chump. Chumps don't have moves like that. So that seems pretty good all around. Excuse me. I guess maybe they can duck that second hit, but I don't think so. Oh, they can duck the third one. There it is. That's why. The palm strike is a high. So that's why, that's where the whole paradigm comes together. Do nothing and take -14 on block, or do the follow-up, which is safe, but take the risk of getting it ducked. That's a very common Tekken trait too. So that seemed too good to be true for a second. So you can just do that on block. Well, on block they can duck you and launch for that way. So you're taking a chance either way. Another keep in control situation, but not as good as I thought it was 20 seconds ago. That's a high. But again, you do whatever you want with it. You can confirm it, you can max cancel it. That's pretty good string in that regard. Anything that you can max cancel is going to be good, because it'll keep you safe. If it does get blocked, go ahead, max cancel, and get them up with the pressure. So that's forward 2. Forward 4 is a big, slow, beefy mid-kick. Also -14 on block. You're going to take a bad punish, but pretty solid distance, though. Not everybody's going to be able to get you with 14 at that range. Maybe. Not great. It's not a terrific move, but you get another crumple stun on counter hit. Whoops. Why can't I dash after? That's weird. Anyway, you can see how it works. There it is. Crumple stun. So the counter hit launcher, -14 mid. It's okay. It's not bad. Good range. It's got really good range on the move itself. And the range on block is decent, but not decent enough to keep you out of trouble. So that's forward 4. Forward 2 is the palm strike. Forward 4 is that big kick. And then forward 1 plus 2 is that we went over earlier, the little short hop. Functions as his basic launcher. It's his slow ass hop kick. It's a 24 frame hop kick is what it is. But it's safe on block. That's only -5, so that's a pretty good move to just be able to throw out. If you're at the range where they can't stuff you out of it, that's a pretty good move to throw out. Forward 1 plus 2. Not bad. It's not like butterfly edge good. It's not like Claudio hop kick good, but it's pretty good. It's slow. If it were 10 frames faster, it'd be one of the best moves in the game. So, take it with what it is. It's a little distance. You know, you got plenty of things to keep those distance at bay. You can just throw out, wow. Super good range on that jab. Super good range. So if you're playing out here, you know, you can keep them out with that. If you catch that with just the tip, they're going to have a hard time getting a full punish off of it. So, like, obviously jabs aren't going to reach. They're going to have to use a 14-frame punish or a shoulder or something to reach you. So if a character doesn't have a good tool like that, you can get away with it sometimes. So that is your forward series. The back series, he has back 1, 2, which we mentioned under 12-frame Punisher. Both hits are -7, high, mid. You can just kind of do this however you want to. Very few drawbacks off of that string. Back 1, 2 is really good. Damage isn't great, but it's a really good move all around to just be able to do reliably, to just have out there and hit them with it and not have to take any chances. A little like take a breather, you know, gather my thoughts sort of move. Back 1, 2 is very good. Back 2 is one of those big badass moves like Heihachi has. This is anywhere from 0 to -2 on block, which is very, very good for such a big hitter like that. And this move gains one unique property, which is this. Causes a wall bounce. That's the only move in the game that does that. It's the only move Geese has that does that. You know, for being a KOF character who's, you know, has all kind of different juggle properties, including the wall bounce, that's his. Is this back 2. Out in the open doesn't do anything. But near the wall, you get a wall bounce. I forget what you do, just Magic 4 maybe. But it's a weird angle. Wall angles in this game are generally kind of weird. I'll get to that in the combo section, I forget. So yeah, that's a slow startup move, as most you're starting to figure hit things are. He doesn't have a litany of 13, 14 frame moves. A lot of his good stuff are in like that 20 range. So he can get pitbulled to death up close if he doesn't have ways to defend himself. He has the basics. He's got little stuff, but his best stuff are slow enough that he needs to be in range 2 to take advantage of them the most. So that is his back 2. His back 3 is the back 3-2 string that we mentioned earlier. That's his 14-frame Punisher and his combo. Hit confirmable. This 14 on startup, but the second hit is 15 on block. So make sure you hit confirm that. And if you have the meter, you can cancel and get the full combo that way. Back 4-4 is this low-high. Very dangerous. You're going to use this as a screw attack for the most part. And in fact, these are the two that you do for the easy mode combo right there. Back 3-2 canceled to back 4-4. So back 4-4, it's fine. If you just do the first hit, it's a basic low kick. It's -13. It's not very fast. It's good. It's like the kind that Kazumi or Law or whatever would have. Knocks you to the ground like a tiny little bit. They bend over. So that's a decent enough low poke. On counter hit, you get the second hit, but you run a big risk of being ducked. It's not a tremendous proposition. The second hit, if that catches by itself on counter hit, you'll get the screw attack. So that is there if you think they're, you know, going to be wild with pressing the buttons. And, you know, if you space it out just right, you can get the screw attack from that alone. Again, that's common. You know, low-high strings aren't great, but if the opponent doesn't, you know, stay on their toes in defending it, you can get away with it. So that's everything he does in the back direction. Down direction, like the other hybrid characters, Akuma and Eliza, down 1 is exactly the same as crouching 1 in this game. That's a property of being a 2D character. In Street Fighter, you're holding crouch all day instead of just tapping down with the move. So anything that the only exception, I think, is that down 1. Yeah, down 1 plus 2 is that. That knockdown is the only move he has that's an actual down input. Everything else is a mirror of full crouch. Full crouch 1 is this. Full crouch 2 is that. The 1 is typical, 10 frames. It's like -5 on block, so that's not even very good for that jab. This is odd. That's a low, and it's -14. So pretty negative for a crummy low. I guess if you're, you know, if you want to represent some full crouch game there, I suppose, with that guy, and you have this low, I guess it's there. It's a mix-up option to keep hitting them low, but really you're better off with things like this, down 3 and down 3-1. A down 3-1 is nice because it keeps you safe. They won't be able to punish that down 3 when that 1 comes out. It's not a natural combo. You can see he's blocking that special mid duck jab. So I guess technically they could low parry the both, but really we're not talking about players that are going to do that to you. Down 3-1 is kind of nice. Not a natural combo. It is one of the cancel strings though. You can do the down jab, the down 1, or the down 3-1 into command normals, or into max mode. Those are some of the rare moves that can do that. Down 3-1, pretty nice. Low mid, safe. Cancels, but not natural. So you can do it. If you think they're going to get hammy with those buttons, you can start letting stuff go and hit them with it. The other gem is his down 4. Pretty fast. This is 17 frames. It's got nice high crush. You can see Geese gets really low to the ground. It doesn't knock down like Akuma's does, but on counter hit, you can get combos like that. Or you can just let him hit the ground and get a guaranteed ground throw that way. It's up to you. If you're going to get the combo, it's a little hard sometimes to, like, you kind of just have to let it rip. Go right into command normal, forward 3. Otherwise, you can't really, like, pick them up as easily as you might like. It's a little difficult. Yeah, I can't... There it is. While standing 1 into forward 3 will also work. It's kind of hard. You almost have to wait for them to hit the ground just right. It's very peculiar. So you can either drop the combo because it's too hard, or just go for the easy combo, which is down 4 right into forward 3, and risk getting ducked. Because that's not going to be natural by any means. They can duck the crap out of that high. But that's your easiest way to confirm that combo on counter hit, is to just do that. So until you get much better at being able to do combo the right way, which is while standing 1 forward 3, it's hard. It's very picky, it's very difficult. You can just start doing this all day. Because if they don't duck that again, this is plus on block anyway. So you're ahead of the game if they don't remember to start ducking that. And if they do start ducking it, you can cancel into the other one, etc. And max mode and all that good stuff. All these options, anything that gets you into command normal or max cancel can get you out of all these trouble situations. So those are his crouch options and the down 1+2. That knockdown. So down 1 is the typical duck jab. Down 2 is a little low slap in the ankles. Down 3-1, low mid, nice and safe. Down 4 is counter hit low. And from the full crouch, you have down forward 1, which is the big launcher. That's it for his down crouching sort of moves. There's not a lot of super good options there. There's one basic mix-up, and there's a nice little keep-out poke tool, and there's a good counter-hit fishing tool. Really good crush properties on a counter-hit fishing tool. So that's it for the low stuff. He has a running 1, which is that little nice mid-shoulder. Good hitbox. About as easy to step as Dragunov's running 2 would be. This is -8 though. This move isn't plus on block by any means. It's closer to Kazumi's, I guess, but maybe a little bit easier to step. It's in that same neighborhood. It's a little more intuitive timing-wise. Hers and Gigas both seem to kind of take like a little pause before they attack you. His seems like it comes out right when you hit the button. So that's a pretty nice little tool in general. I mean, you can instant at close range. Get it that way. Not plus, so keep in mind it's a running move that isn't plus, but it's there. He doesn't have a running 3, he just has this instead, so that's why he's got that shoulder. That's it for running moves, though. He doesn't really do anything else. He's got one sidestep move, which is sidestep 3 like Paul. There is supposed to be, there's rumors of a combo off of this too, but I'm not sure what it is yet. I don't know how to pick that up yet. It might be like an instant while standing 4 situation. I'm not sure. I haven't seen anybody do it yet. But it looks like the kind of knockdown where you should be getting some kind of combo, right? They're still in the air when you're recovered. I'm not sure yet. So that's just like Paul's. Nice little low kick in the ankles. Excellent range. Superb range, in fact. That hits from really far away. Sidestep 3 is very good. It's his only sidestep move. It's very good. I guess I didn't do the rest of while standing. We did his full crouch, but not while standing. While standing 1, we mentioned in Punishers, is 13, and you get Fudoken off of that. Or you can get command normals. They're not natural, but you can go right into it. And you can get max cancel. Again, none of that stuff is natural. The only combos you really get by max canceling into something else are from the big boys. You're standing 2 and you're forward 1, which is why that standing 2 is like a gate at 15 frames. You don't get all of this cool stuff until you land that move. You're not allowed to get all this cool stuff from cheap-ass lows like duck jabs. So while standing 1 is cancelable, but just for pressure purposes. While standing 1 to 13... His while standing 3 is 15, and it's a high. Not very often do you see a while standing move that's a high. Eddie has one. His while standing 1-3 is high, which is weird. But nonetheless, that's a high, and on counter hit, you'll get the screw attack right away. So you can't ever turn down a good combo when it shows up for you. While standing 3, safe on block, 15 frame high. We mentioned the full crouch 1 is your basic launcher. And while standing 2, forward 2 is that launcher, like Brian's Fisherman Slam. Hits them, throws them into the air. On block, it's only minus 14, which isn't bad. That's not all that bad for a while standing launcher that gets you all of that. You could do a lot worse. So this, on startup, it's between 16 and 18. I'm not sure of that yet either. While standing 2, and then you do forward or back 2 during hit to create that flip throw, just like the Fisherman Slam. So while standing, that's not too bad either. That little 13 guy, the 15 frame 3 can get you a combo on counter hit, and the 2 gets you a combo on 16 frames, as well as the full crouch launcher that way. So that's all of his crouching stuff. He only has the 1 sidestep move, only has the 1 running move, but he has normal jumps, just like Akuma and Eliza do. Hit is about the same. There's no dive kick or any other crazy potential here. There's just jumping 1, jumping 2-2 has that double hit, jumping 3 is that, and jumping 4 is the kick. They're all going to be plus on block, like most jump-in attacks. It's jumping 4 that gets you the combo from. That has enough on hit that you get a 2 follow-up. So you notice jumping 3 does not. I don't get shit off of that. I didn't get a jab. I guess I do if I get deep enough. I guess I can. Okay. So if you land that jumping 3 deep enough, you can connect a jab at least. Not as good as 4 though. If I land Eddie jumping 4, I basically get to go right into my 2, which opens up everything else I can do. So jumping 3, I guess maybe it's a mix-up of timing. If they're going to try to like jab you out of the air or magic for you or something, if you wait on it, I don't know. They all should be. The thing about these is I can't say that they're all plus on block, because if you connected too high, that could be like minus 20 for all I know. Because you hit them so early, their recovery starts early, and they might be ready to hit you before Geese even lands. So that's the difference. That's why you get the combo when I connect it super deep, versus why I don't when I hit it super high. So my frame advantage is better the deeper I land, which translates into being plus on block, or being able to connect follow-ups on hit. So they should follow those rules. If you do it super high, you're not going to get any advantage, but if you connect it nice and shallow, or nice and deep to the ground, you get your follow-ups and you get plus frames if they blocked it. So that's pretty much it. He just has 4 jumping normals, you know, we'll look at him in the list. That's it. Nothing else there. This one double hits. This is the good one, but that's it. There's nothing else unique about them. There's no dive kick variation. They just are what they are. They're just jump-in attacks that Street Fighter characters have. And the thing about this game is almost everything you do is an anti-air. You can just get jabbed out of the air and kicked out of the air by anything. Your advantage lies in, you know, them not realizing you just jumped in the air. What the hell is he doing? That's what it's for. Which is why Akuma excels so well at that, because the Demon Flip is just a super fast version of a jump with more options. Eliza and Geese don't really benefit as much from just being able to jump in at you. Eliza can jump in and do the dive kick, which is a nice tool, and Geese can jump and do shippuken, which sucks. So keep that in mind. The jumping is there if you want to just kind of style a little bit, but it's not a super good thing to really have. It's okay, it's fine. If they don't realize what you're doing, you can get away with murder, which is kind of a lot of things in this character. If they're not aware of it yet, which they will be in time, and even then, they might not be able to anticipate what you're doing, you can get away with a lot of stuff. It's not necessarily a built-in counter, but as soon as they see you jump, they can slap you right out of the air. So until they're mentally prepared to start slapping you out of the air, feel free to just jump in on them. That's about it for his pokes and all of his normal moves in general, basically. He only has a couple of each one, but they complete the puzzle. Lots of counter hits in there, lots of interesting mix-up situations, and lots of high-risk, high-reward gamble type stuff. The drawback is their basic functionality is limited. When it comes to, like, you know, I'm getting pressured by a Steve or something, I need, you know, down-forward ones, little quick mids to get me out of trouble. He doesn't have a great arsenal of those things. He's got a few. This back 1-2 Punisher, his down-forward 1 is pretty straightforward. It's 13 frames minus 1. That's pretty much like all of them, so that's fine. That down-forward 4 is a basic mid poke kick. He's got that stuff, but not a lot else. So when he's up close, he needs to be on offense. He needs to be going with all of these like string jab mix-up things. Otherwise, he has to go back on defensive, and his defensive options, as far as poking goes, are a little weak. That's why he has these reversals, and we'll get to that a little bit later. Actually, now that I mentioned it, I think I missed down forward. I did. Down forward 1-1. Just like Heihachi's mid-high, safe on block. I missed that whole area. Down forward 1-1 and down forward 1-4 are mid-mid. The 1-4 is not safe, nor is it natural, but crumples on counter hit, like we mentioned 3-3 does. If you just use this to poke, and all of a sudden they don't realize there's another hit coming, that counter hit can happen. So that's a pretty common thing as well. Basic Tekken things they added into Geese to make him fit the mold a little bit better, and they do their job exactly as intended. So yeah, I did fail to mention that. Down forward 1-1 and down forward 1-4 are all very good. Down forward 2 is a kind of slow but safe mid homing move. Only -5 on block, that's pretty good. It's just not very fast. That's a nice little tool to have. It almost seems like I'd rather switch 2 and down forward 2 jobs, but whatever. You'll get used to what the button is after a certain time. It's down forward 2. Down forward 3 is a low kick. Down forward 3-4 is low mid. Again, unsafe on block. That's going to be -13 if they block it. But here's the nice little trick, is you can fake that 4 into a 2 or 3. Boom, like that. If you just press down 3-4 and then 2, it comes out that way. If you press down 3-4 and 3, it comes out into that kick. These are both really nice because that's safe. That's only -2. In fact, it's the same move as your back 2, so it could be anywhere from -2 to 0 on block. It generally follows those kind of rules. It's the same animation. He feels the same. So you either you cancel this into what's essentially your back 2, or what's essentially your forward 3, which is also plus on block. So that's a nice little thing to have. The only drawback is they can't interrupt that little fake timing right there if they feel inclined. It does take them a second, but it's pretty quick. If you do this a lot, they're going to get a read on how fast this move is. And they're going to realize, okay, here comes that move, let me blow it up real quick. So as long as you use it sparingly, they'll never be able to mentally keep up with its timing. You can cancel that into 2 options, plus on block high, and an almost as plus on block mid. Pretty good stuff there. But yeah, that was it. I missed those down forward sections. That was all that there was. So that kind of sums it all up then, I think. Jab strings, all the built-in mix-ups. 2 is where the magic happens. It's got a counter hit 4. Counter hits on 3 3s and 1 plus 2s. Forward 2 is that little palm thing that you can take the risk on following up or max canceling. Forward 1 plus 2 is your little hop kick sort of launcher thing. The down forward sequences are your mid stuff kind of moves, you know. Keep away from me with a quick mid poke, or stop sidestepping me with that thing. Back 1, nice little punishers. Back 3 is your 14 punisher and a combo starter. All your down moves, your duck jabs, down 3-1. That gets you one of your max cancels and your command normals. And the while standing stuff, also while standing lets you get command normals, etc. So let me summarize the whole poking section with the lists of specific property moves, starting with homing moves. The only ones he has are his standing 4 and his down forward 2. Those are the only homing moves. That's all he's got. One that's high, and one that's mid, both safe, good enough, right? It could be faster. This is 16 and this is 19, I think. It could be faster, but I think that's kind of a Geese thing, is he's so much more effective out in this range 2 to 3 that he doesn't need 13 frame moves out here. He's better off with this stuff. So homing moves 4, down forward 2. Screw attacks are both of those, 4, down forward 2, as well as back 4-4, the second hit of back 4-4, and while standing 3. Those are his only screw attacks. Those are the only ones he needs, I guess. You cancel out of something, and you either have time to hit them with the double hit or the single hit, and that's all. You don't need too many more, because you'll see the combo paths that he have are so insanely complex and full of variety. You don't need too many different screw attacks. You can always just cancel and go back to the same starting point and just use this. So those are the only 4 screw attacks. The moves that he can cancel into the command normals, the forward 1 and the forward 3. They are pretty much the same moves that you can max cancel, which are standing 1, standing 2, down 1, down 3-1, the big down 4, and while standing 1. That's it. Out of all those moves, those are the only ones you can cancel into your normals. Jab can do it, not a natural combo. Standing 2 can do it, and it is a natural combo. Duck jab, not natural. Down 3-1, not natural. Down 4, not natural. And while standing 1, not natural. So you see, the only one that actually is a natural combo is your standing 2, because it's 15 frames. That's how they gated his damage potential. His combo started 15. So you can do it. You can cancel these things, all of those, into your command normals for the pressure purposes, which is this one. You don't ever want to cancel into that one for pressure, because it's so negative on block. But you can keep it going one into the other. You can cancel this into that and then max cancel and do it all. All that stuff is there for you to experiment with. So those are the only moves that can cancel into command normal. The max cancel list is only different by the addition of forward 2, which you can cancel on block or on hit, and back 3-2, which you can cancel to combo that way. Those are the only moves that you can max cancel that you cannot cancel into a command normal. So otherwise, the jab and the standing 2, you can do either. You can go right into max mode, or you can do a command normal and then max mode from that. See, as both command normals can also max cancel from there, right? So you can do 2 into max mode, like that, or you can do 2 forward 1 into max mode, like that. Keep them honest, keep your timing unpredictable, and buy yourself a minute to make the read on whether you hit or not. And then moves that you can cancel into special moves like fireballs, like, you know, the classic crouching medium into fireball type stuff. Basically the same list again. Jab can do it, standing 2 can do it, forward 1 can do it, but not forward 3. Forward 3, I guess he's in the air, it doesn't work that way, and he's plus, so that move's good enough. So the forward 1, you can fireball out of that. Down 1, down 3-1, the down 4 again, and while standing 1. But again, the only ones that are a natural combo into anything are the standing 2. And in this case, forward 1. Those are both the big heavy hitters that actually become a natural combo with anything else. So again, the jab, the down jab, and the sweep, all that stuff can be canceled into max mode, canceled into command normals, or into any of his special moves, but they're not natural combos. They're just there for the pressure, the mix-up, and the ability to cancel into another one and keep it going. The only ones you get the good stuff off of are standing 2 and the forward 1. So let's take a quick second to go over Geese's throws and reversals before we do the rest of his combos. The biggest trick about this guy is his ability to reverse or parry anything. The problem is you have to know high, mid, and low correctly. The high reversal will not reverse a mid, and the mid will not reverse a high. So you have to know which one is which. Let's take a look at him in the move list, you know, to help build that visual memory. This is a half circle back with the left throw. This works on highs. Half circle back with the 2 throw works on mids. And half circle back with the diagonals works on low attacks. The mid version of it doesn't, I don't know exactly how to do it just yet, but if he just kind of flips you around, he tosses you backwards and you're facing away from him. I don't know what your guaranteed damage is yet. I haven't really seen anybody, you know, guarantee what you're supposed to get. It looks like something quick and rangy, like your back 3-2 should be able to get him before they turn around, but I can't really say yet. I haven't been able to test everything out. So I'm going to set Heihachi to do a jab. I'll show you the high reversal. Boom. That's a big chunk of damage. That was 45 damage just from reversing one high. Timing's not super strict either. You can kind of throw it out early. So you'll get the same action from a low. Let's do jab, down back 3. $25, nowhere near as much. I might get a follow-up there. I got a combo there. Oh, no kidding. Huh. Okay, that's interesting then. Oops. Oh, counts as your screw attack. Okay, I didn't notice that at first. So 25 damage and automatic screw attack. And you can finish the combo from that point when you reverse a low. The mid, however, you just get a situation, and I'm not quite sure what to do with that yet. Play. It looks like that'll catch, but I set the computer to turn around and block as best as I could. Without doing trial mode the other way, you know, set Geese to do the reversal and then mash out back 3 or something, I haven't been able to figure out what you get guaranteed off of that. At the wall, because the distance he throws you away from him is much, much shorter. Like if he throws right there, if he throws you into a wall, you can get your 2 forward 1 stuff off of it. But out in the open, I'm not sure yet. I haven't been able to test reliably with what you can do, what they can't do. It seems like the Lucky Chloe command throw where she dips under your legs. If you do one thing, the mid beats you. If you do something else, the high beats you. It could be like that, or it could be nothing. I'm not sure yet. I haven't been able to figure that out, nor have I seen anybody get anything reliably that wasn't at the wall. So think about it that way. If, you know, you wake up at the wall and they just want to do, like, you know, a mid homing move that re-splats you or something, that's when you're going to use the most out of this. Because at the wall, like, you know, such a temptation to go low. Like, it just seems like everybody wants to stay mid. Stay mid and tracky at the wall no matter what. Yeah, see, that could definitely gets guaranteed. They won't be able to turn around in time for stuff like that when you throw them into the wall. But that's something that the community will have to figure out exactly what you can do and what you can't. Or anybody can test out on their own, you know. Set a friend or set the practice dummy the opposite direction or whatever and test everything. So those are his 3 reversals, which can reverse everything, including the rage arts, like you saw in his video. He'll be able to do that to harangues, which is completely safe. Just give him the old reverse and then flip him around. So that's one of the core features of this character, is his ability to reverse and parry everything. The other is the down throw, which we saw a lot of times, like on this counter hit down 4. Damn it. That's weird. Why is that not working? Is that not one that's actually guaranteed? Or this one? It's that one. That kind of knockdown, or if you get the, yeah. Those are guaranteed. You notice he was even getting up a little bit and still threw him. Those are just down left throw and down right throw. They're inescapable. You don't have to guess what it is. That option is guaranteed for Geese when he catches you with that knockdown. I think it comes off of both of these too. So yeah, the Fudoken kick mix-up both result in a guaranteed down throw. Same with this down 1+2 attack. Can't get out of that. It's not breakable. They can't make a read, and they can't back roll or anything. So his ability to pick you up off the ground is pretty unique. That's where it ends, though. He doesn't get anything more off of those ground throws. He can't re-splat or anything like that. But that's a nice fitting to the end of that mix-up sequence is to get another chunk of 20 damage on top of it. And Godoki from it. So his down throws and his reversals really kind of make the character what he is. You can see he just has the regular throws. His only other command throw is the back 1+2, which is that. You don't get a combo off of that, even though it's the same animation as that, which you do get a combo from. So that's just a command throw, 50 damage or 40 damage, whatever it is. But that's all. Basic throw, one command throw, untechable guaranteed ground throws, and then the ability to reverse everything as long as you know what's coming. The best advantage of this is to do like the third hit of a string. Like, you know, if there's through something like Lee, you know his 2-2-3 is something you have to duck. You know that third hit is a high, and so you duck it. This would be used on strings where you know that third hit is a mid, like Devil Jin does Laser Scraper. You can sidestep that third hit, but you can also use this to just reverse that third hit when you know it's coming out. Situations like that. A situation where you would normally be ducking a known high, you can use this to parry a known mid when it comes out. Otherwise, it's a total guessing game, and you're going to get killed by trying to just parry whatever attack you think they're going to do. It's best served for when you know what could come next, what the options are, or to, like, you know, duck this option and then boom, immediately do the reversal in case they do mid, whatever it is. So you can't do it at will, but you can do it when you know there is an attack coming and you make the read on high or mid. So having said that, he doesn't get a combo off his throws other than the hit throw, which is the Fisherman Slam. So there's nothing super different about that. Despite being a defensive character, he doesn't have combo throws. But he's got good parries, and you can kind of combo off of the one parry. Actually, two of them. The low one gets you a combo, and the mid one might at the wall. So about those combos, they're all very different. Because he doesn't have a typical launch, juggle, screw attack system, all of his combo paths are wildly different. So let's go over the basic ways that you're going to get them with combos. I think that starts with 2. Your standing 2, as I've mentioned before, is 15 frames, and it gives you everything that you want out of it. So you can do the whole shebang with this stuff and your max cancels and everything. And get to the wall, stuff like that. So that's where most of your damage is going to come from, is ground strings canceled into another, not necessarily from airborne combos. So forward 2 is the simplest way to get into that path at 15 frames, but as also mentioned, at 14 frames is back 3-2, which you can do stuff like that. You do the back 3-2, and then you max cancel, and you got a couple options there. You can catch them with a jab, and whatever it is, it might be. You'll figure out eventually how to be creative and what's consistent and what's not with the combo pieces that we go over here. You can't really get away with everything. Certain strings have certain moves that work at them and ones that don't. So you kind of have to, like, figure it all out. Like this back 3-2, you don't get to hit them after that unless you max cancel. So that either works as the beginning where you have to max cancel, or you can do it in the mid, or like say post screw attack, if they land like right here, you can do it to get the rest of the wall distance that way. It does a nice little float in the air for wall carry. So you can use that anywhere in a combo, but anywhere you do, you pretty much have to, you know, max cancel to keep going. So that is a 14 frame launcher, technically. It just doesn't follow the same rules as anything else. F2 at 15 frames. Or standing 2, I'm sorry. Forward 2, if you have a meter, can also do the same thing. Once that hits, you can float them. Once they're reeling, they're reeling in that nosebleed stance, you can max cancel and then float them. Like that. So that you can see, as we went over, you're going to max cancel this almost no matter what. because the one option on block can get ducked, and if you don't do anything, you can get punished hard, you almost kind of want to just max cancel this no matter what. So if they do block it, you get to keep up with the pressure, and if it does hit, you can float and get the combo that way. So that will launch if you have a stock. You can get a whole combo off of that. And the other two are the crouching options. The full crouch down forward 1 is a conventional launcher. You can get, you know, the typical juggle stuff from it. And the other is the fisherman slam, while standing 2, forward 2. Like that. That's going to be a backwards juggle, and I don't know of any way to turn him around. My best guess would be something like this, and it doesn't turn him around. So you can actually time that one, and get behind them that way. If you dash in deep, and then whenever you do the max cancel, he takes an automatic dash. Like that. That dash can run under them if you do that just right, off of this throw. Like that. And then you end up on the other side of them, and they can do more basic stuff like jab or the down 4 or whatever's from there. But that's it for straightforward launchers for the character. And they're not even that straightforward. His full crouch is the most straightforward one there is. The fisherman slam is next. And then the rest of them are like chain links rather than launchers. Oh no, we didn't do this. The forward 1+2. That is a juggle them while they're in the air type of move. Your choices are kind of limited there. You can't really get everything that you want. You almost have to go right into jab. You don't have time to get everything else. But that's it. Counter hit launches is where it gets a little more predictable. He has a more basic routine of these kind of things. It starts with, let me just turn counter hit on. There's that counter hit. Starts with the magic 4. Starts with, it gets the screw attack right away, and you can just run up and do whatever it is. From there. Forward 4 causes a crumple stun, and you can do again the same stuff. Down 4, as we went over, is a little tricky. If you go right away into that, into your command normal, you can pick them up in a pretty straightforward combo like that. Notice I'm doing the same option every time. Back 3-2 canceled, into back 4-4. Just to show you the basic combo tools that you can work around. This will work on most situations, and I'll try to go over the ones that it doesn't, that you have to do super specialized things for separately. But forward or down 4 counter hit into forward 3 can get you ducked, but it's the easiest way to do it. That while standing 1 is really picky to hit. In fact, I can't even get it at all right now. You should insert, I guess maybe if you're off to the side it works a little better, if you're on this side maybe. Yeah, if you're a step to the right when you get that, you can get a combo much easier that way. But a step to the left. You can, but it's a little tougher that way. That way. You get a better combo if you're one step to the right. So if you're straight on and you hit him with a down 4, really tough to go for it. If you're just going to fish for that counter hit, you kind of almost have to let that rip. If you want to like dance at them a little bit, give them a little bit of jab, and then sidestep and do it, your odds are much better of getting a good combo off of it. Let's say that. Sidestep to the right is best, sidestep to the left is almost as good, but better than neutral. So that one you can get the basic combo elements from. Like that. What else is there? Down forward 2 on counter hit also causes an automatic screw attack. This one and this one, there was only 2 homing moves. On counter hit, they both cause the automatic screw, so you can do it that way. Back 4-4 does the same function. If you get counter hit by the second hit alone, automatic screw attack. Kind of far away though. Like you have to be so far away to not get hit by that, but hit by the second one, it's kind of tough. He's got such good range that he's almost too far away to combo some of these things. And while standing 3. on counter hit will cause the automatic screw. The other combos that he sort of gets are these weird knockdowns like that. This is 1+2 on counter hit. And you can get a forward 1 into super reppuken like that. But I don't know what else. There's got to be more to it than just that. I don't know if you dash up and do this stuff. I'm not sure. I've not seen anybody really convert this kind of stuff yet. That doesn't pick up easily. Maybe it does at the right angle. I'm not sure yet. It doesn't want to, that's for sure. Neither does that. So that might be all that you get. On that counter hit, you get a forward 1 follow-up, and if you have 2 stocks, you can do the super reppuken. And the same hit will result on back 1-2. The second hit of back 1-2 causes that knockdown. The same hard into the ground. If you were Heihachi and you got the while standing 1 or the chrome dome headbutt, your result is the same knockdown. All you get is the death palm, you don't get a full combo. So that's what it kind of reminds me of. Is that hard knockdown guarantees like 1 or 2 particular moves. The best one that I've seen is that forward 1 and super reppuken if possible. Good damage, 60 damage off of that 1 counter hit. But I don't know anything else to do. That's, as far as I know, the best and simplest follow-up. Same with this back 1, too. That was even kind of far away. It's peculiar, for sure. But it says something, right? You could probably figure out some other stuff you want to hit him with. Like, that'll hit them, but it won't combo any further. This forward 1 is probably your best bet, because that forward 1 is also special cancelable. So maybe that's what you go for. But that's it. A lot of crumple stun launchers. The Magic 4, all of your screw attacks will cause an automatic screw attack on counter hit. And then the down 4 low poke can counter hit. And then your weird counter hit follow-ups, like the 1+2. So that's a pretty good amount of things. For a strong defensive character, having counter hit launchers to blow up pit bulls is a really nice property. He's got a lot of good ones in there. They're not necessarily fast. Down 4 is pretty fast. This was a 17, I think. That's pretty good for such a dangerous low tool to have. That isn't bad at all. Really good crush properties and a combo on counter hit. So, oh yeah, I missed down forward 1-4. The same kick as forward 4 anyway, so it's the same result. You get counter hit by the second one of those. Do this all day, and then decide to press buttons, you get that counter hit. So he's got a litany of those things. 4, down forward 1-4 is the same animation. Back 4-4 is the same animation. 3-3 does the same thing if I didn't mention that. The second hit, counter hit crumple stun. The forward 4, and then all the homing moves. Screw attacks cause an automatic screw attack. So, as far as his combos go, the best way is to just kind of expand upon what I showed you there. The basic back 3-2 cancel stuff, to go over what changes and what doesn't have to change and how to try to maximize stuff. The simplest things you're ever going to see are 2 forward 1. If you don't have meter, you can do 2 forward 1 and whatever special move you want. Double reppuken works. Fudou 2, 1 works. Whoops. 48 damage. The quarter circle back 2, and then the 1 follow-up is natural. You can do that. And you can do Clay Aiken. 50 damage in that hard knockdown. And the light Clay Aiken gets you the better wall carry. 48 damage. So that's the simplest form of a Geese combo, because this is your 15-frame launcher, so to speak. You get the forward 1 for free no matter what, and it gives you a second extra to buy to see if it connected, and then you can max cancel if you have the meter. If you don't have the meter, you can go right into the Fudou, and by that point you can tell if it's gotten hit or not. If it hits, you can do the palm strike, which is guaranteed, and if it didn't hit, you can do the kick mix-up. So if you do have meter, you want to max cancel the forward 1 part. Like that. Which is the same sequence again. 2 forward 1, max canceled. 2 forward 1, special cancel. And the same things happen either way. So if you have the meter, you cancel the first set and then just do it again, because they don't leave the ground. They stay right there. You can do another 2 forward 1 into the same series of special moves that you already did. Whoops. And the Clay Aiken Light like that for 63 instead of, what was that, 48 the first time around? That's a big chunk of damage for that 1 meter. And the ideal set is if you could get better wall carry that way. Notice you can also connect stuff like that. Because this forward 1 was enough on hit to guarantee these special moves, including the heavy special moves, you could get almost anything you want when you max cancel. You have enough time that you could connect another string, but there aren't many strings that are better than another set of 2 forward 1 because it's still special cancelable at the end. If I do this back 3-2, that's it. I can't do anything more because I already used up my max cancel getting to that point. I can't follow up back 3-2 unless I max cancel again. So I guess if you're getting close to the wall, you know, at a certain range, you can do it and then use that to get the rest of the way there, and when you get to the wall, do another 2 forward 1 series. So you'll have to learn with, you know, managing your meter during a match when to do it or when to just do a reppuken and move on, you know? But that's the basic way a ground combo works, is a max cancel into another string and then cancel that into a special move wherever possible. Some other things you could do when that causes that nosebleed knockdown, you can do the super reppuken right there. But I think they can cancel that. I think they can hit the ground quickly and stand up. So I wouldn't put too much faith in being able to do that. But just like the 2 forward 1 series, as we talked about, you can cancel this on its own. It'll float them. So you can do 2 forward 3 is another basic combo tool that you don't need to max cancel out of. That works pretty well. In fact, you can do it twice in most combos. Like that. As far as screw attacks go, you pretty much, if you want to use back 4-4, you kind of have to do that by like the 4th hit. Oops. Something like this. 42. Whereas if I throw like a jab in there or something, or another sequence, I won't have room to do that. Yeah, see, that's even too much for the Magic 4. You kind of still are limited by the number of hits, just like any other combo, but Geese's advantage is his ability to travel the ground quickly with these moves. These moves take big step forward, so he's able to step up with the combo in that regard. So when you cancel a ground string, you can either do another ground string into special, and that's kind of it. Some of the differences are this back 3-2, which puts him in the air, so when you cancel there, you get a typical juggle, or this forward 2, once you cancel that, if you hit them, it floats, so you also get the airborne juggle that way too. It's just a kind of unconventional way to get to the same thing. Otherwise, your launcher combos, like that, you can do a litany of more conventional things. Screw attack right away, do this stuff, there's the wall, whatever it might be. Your basic tools during the combo are a 2 and a forward 3, back 3-2 when you haven't used max, because remember you need max to keep on after that. Back 4-4 is your screw attack, and just being able to do a jab and then a magic 4. Those are the best tools that you're going to see for the most part in the middle of a combo. Some other things that you can do instead of 2 forward 3 is down 4-3. That works as well too, because that might have a little bit more range as they sink to the ground. Like that. So if you haven't used, you know, all your resources yet, you might be able to squeeze another one out by doing down 4 into forward 3 instead of just 2 into forward 3. But those are pretty much what you're going to use. 2 forward 3, back 3-2, some jabs. The back 4-4 is your screw attack, and any down 4 string that you might think you can squeeze in. Those are pretty much what you're going to make most combos out of. Some of the other ones, where if you have a crumple stun involved, you can do jumping attacks. That can be a little bit harder. Like that. It's peculiar. You have to do a little bit of a dash and then get right in the air. But once you hit it just right, they stay floated and you can do the same things. 2, forward 3, back 3, 2, whatever it might be. It's just a little hard to get used to the timing of that stuff. So you can do the jumping 4 stuff. It's not as easy as Eliza's dive kicks are. It has to be a neutral jump and a 4, and the timing is very picky. You can't dash too deep. You got to be in the air quickly. And then follow up with 2, forward 3, back 4, 4, like you did on everything else. So that's an option when you have crumple stuns, and including after screw attacks too. If you haven't done a ton of hits, when you get to the screw attack state, you can jump at them and do a 4 before finishing with other stuff. Ending combos, you generally have enough time to run up and do a 2 into Clay Aiken, let's say. 2 into Clay Aiken 3 gets you the better wall carry. Or if you have just enough and you got all your dashes just right, you can do a 2 forward 1 Clay Aiken or a 2 forward 1 reppuken that way. The nice thing about reppuken enders is if you get it to the wall just right, if you went to combo with this, you can end with the super, get them to the wall, and do a running 1 afterward. Most times when you end a combo with super reppuken, you can instant while running 1 and still hit them. You recover pretty quickly. When they get to the wall, at least, it's much easier to do. Like that. They're still airborne before they get to the ground, and if they're anywhere near the wall, they're going to hit it, and you can running 1 and follow up that way. It's the fastest way to catch up with the rest of the combo. So if the wall distance is just right, you can end with 2 replicant stuff like that, or otherwise you can just do 2 forward 1 Clay Aiken. Those are the best ways to generally do it. The Clay Aikens are a good damage, and the 3 version has the best wall carry. Otherwise, everything else is super situational. You're going to need to spend a lot of time to just mess around with everything that he does, figure out, if I'm right here, what's the best distance to the wall, you know? What do I need to get there, and what do I want to do upon arrival? So that way you can time out when you use your max cancel, how to space out your forward 3, stuff like that. And if you got just the right distance to maximize that, which would be, you know, reppuken to the wall and then a super to finish it. And then from there. And then the wall break or whatever it might be. So that's the basics of the combo structure. There's nothing else really out of the ordinary to think about. Other than the fact that jumping 4 does lead into most of these things. Like that. 70 damage off of that jump in without having to get to the wall. Jumping 4, and we saw the jumping 3 easier, can get you the jab. The jumping 4 is your big one. If you manage to land that, you can get your standing 2, which lets you get everything else. So that's a nice little addition, but as I said, everything in this game anti-airs, it's a little tough. So if you happen to get a low just right, you can really pile on the damage with that extra lead in. 18 to start off before the damage beacon's even scaling. It's kind of nice. So your standing ground combos are based off the 2 forward 1 series. That does a lot of your work. Certain things like the forward 2, you can cancel there, you can float them. This forward 1 plus 2 has that little weird state where you can float that way. This is kind of hard to catch up after 7 hits. It's hard to run up and then just get a 2. Because you sometimes get forward 2. You actually have to run up and let go in order to do 2 at the end of some of these combos. So they can be a little tricky if you pile in too many unnecessary hits. But that's the gist of it, is get what you need to get towards the wall, try to save your max cancel for the best opportunity, which would probably be at the wall, since you can do that in the middle of it and then wall splat. That would be what you really want to do, is to get a second set of 2 forward 1s in, or a second set of Clay Aikens in. So learn how to do your max, when to do it, what part of the combo best suits it, and how to adjust distance from there. But otherwise, there's not anything that's really peculiar about his combos, just the variety in which that you could do it. Nothing else is an odd juggle other than the proposed ones like that. Don't really know what to do there, but it feels like there should be a combo. That and like the down 4 that we went over. There's a weird pickup from that. Otherwise, everything else kind of works the same. It's just like, it's a Tekken combo. You want to get them into the air so you can juggle them and do your screw attack. He just gets there in different ways. He gets there with a move like that floats, but you gotta max cancel it. A move like this that nosebleeds, but you gotta max cancel it. So that's where his differences come in. Once you get used to the fact that you punish something that's launch punishable, like just doing ground strings, it all makes better sense. That was 85 damage, just, you know, standing there from 1 meter. That's pretty good. And that's not even talking about getting his rage stuff involved yet. So the combo system is not as complex as you might think. It's just there's so much to the character, and there's so many different ways. I'll put a list in the description of some of the various combo paths, just so you can see some of the different options. I'll transcribe some of the combos I've seen on the internet already, so you can see what the potential looks like. But it's the same as anything else. You learn how to use a couple of combo pieces, how to do your screw attack, and how many hits you have left to get the damage or the wall or whatever it might be. At the wall, you're pretty much just going to do the same thing. Once I've already splatted with 2 forward 1, Clay Aiken, heavy Clay Aiken. Whoops, let me just set it onto wall real quick. Because you should be able to, if you haven't done a max cancel yet, you should be able to do one right there. Restart position, wall. That's a crumple stun. That's a good, like this one. Oh, see, that doesn't work as well. There might be a different one in there. I feel like I saw somebody do, after the wall splat, a forward 2-1, and then max cancel into the down 3. Like that. And I'm not quite sure what it was. I don't remember where the tweet came from. So if you haven't used your max cancel yet, there is potential to do some even more wild stuff. And then reppukens and double reppukens from there. I'm not quite sure what it is, but by and large, your easiest wall combo is 2 forward 1, heavy Clay Aiken. 50 damage. You can do Fudouken 1, heavy Fudouken 1 for 48, doesn't really make any difference. The other option would be that for the spike. I'm pretty sure that's still guaranteed. Fudouken 3 should still be guaranteed. I don't know if that... Well, let me set it, just to be sure. What do I do here? Action settings, ground technique. Quick roll left. I think that's the one. Let's find out. No, it does not. Interesting. That's what I would have guessed your best floor break would be. I never thought about a floor break. I wonder what else he would do in that situation. Okay, I guess you can cut out a hit. Let's just try it that way. That would break it in that case. Too many hits off of the forward 1, in other words. Damn, having a hard time here. Yeah, that'll work. You cut out the forward 1 instead of 2 forward 1 like you're always doing. Just do 2 right into Fudouken 3. That'll hit them. That also gives you that head first knockdown that they have to tech correctly. So that would be your wall break option then. So maybe if I... What was that other combo then? Maybe they cut that one out then. No, that still doesn't connect. I'm not sure what that was. But if you look on the internet, there's plenty of other crazy tech that'll be discovered. I just don't know what it is yet. It's only been a couple of hours. But most of your combos, since they're built out of 2 forward 1 to start off with, they end with 2 forward 1 Clay Aiken at the wall. And the air juggle stuff is all either back 3-2s or 2 forward 3s. That's the gist of it. So I'll leave that list of combos, and you'll be able to figure out whatever it is you like, what you're comfortable with, and find some crazy tech on the internet. So So lastly would be Geese's rage art system, which he has 2 versions of, unlike most characters. Rashomon is a basic type of rage art. Single hit, armor, the works. Turn rage on. And turn off the wall. We don't need that. Wall. Default. Boom. This is down back 1+2. The only difference is it's unblockable. It's a high that you can duck, just like Jin's, Steve's, Elisa's, etc. You can duck this, but it is a high. So you have to recognize which one it is that he's doing. Look at the animation when it starts up. He points at you, his hand on his waist, and he points at you for that one. Because the other rage art is the Deadly Rave. I'll just show it to you what it looks like here. It does ultimately the same result. 57 damage. That seems to be what you always get in these practice mode rage arts because you can't vary the amount of health that you have. The difference is, if you look at his animation, this is half circle back and then forward 3+4. Recognize that animation where he draws his key inward. That one you just stand there and you block it. The other one, make sure you notice when he points at you, you better duck. So it's almost kind of like a last second mix up. Oh my god, I just got rage arted. Wait a minute, I might have a second. Which one is it? Can I duck this one or can I not? The 10 string one, as soon as it connects, you basically just pull off a 10 string. Because I don't think he has them otherwise. I don't think he has a 10 string down here. Which is good, because 10 strings are stupid. I don't think he has one. It's at the end of his rage art. It's 1, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 1+2. I haven't messed with doing that. I don't even know when to do it. After it connects, I suppose? Before it connects. Yeah, that's weird. I've never messed with it. I don't know if I care. I'd rather just stick with the other. I got 59 for some reason. Oh, because I have rage activated and it doesn't go away correctly, maybe? That's possible. But anyway, I just kind of mashed it out. Doubled up every button. Just kind of mash each button for a second. Just double tap them all. 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, etc. So you can practice that, get used to it. It's nice to have. The problem is, though, is if you want to just like wake up with a rage art because they're trying to attack you, that's going to be much harder to do it with that command. And if you map it to R1 button, I don't know what it's going to do. It probably just gives you Rashomon. That'd be my guess. So this does have its uses. I don't know exactly what they would be. It does not wall splat or balcony break. I've seen that at the end. That last hit with the palm strike will not continue a combo. So I guess this might be the better damage option of the two, if you can input it, but otherwise it's still just a pretty straightforward rage art. And the other one that seems like the basic straightforward rage art is actually unblockable. So if they don't remember to duck it, it hits them anyway. So that's like one last little trick up Geese's sleeve, is if you just like, oh, here's a rage art, let me just block him and hop kick it. If you forgot about it for just a second, you get destroyed for it. So that's a pretty very Geese thing to do, right? That last second surprise where he ultimately wins because he's dirty and sneaky and smarter than you. So that's kind of a Geese thing. That's pretty much it. That's a lot to go over for sure. There's a million different things, a very unorthodox character, and an even more unorthodox way to piece all this stuff together. But I hope that it helps a little bit. It's the best I could do in the first day, watching other people play him, studying the frame data. Again, big shout outs to Cody and Seattle Tekken for working on all of that. Stuff I'm able to test out on my own without other resources. Seen what there is to see. This is everything I can figure out about Geese for now. And it seems like it all works. It seems like it's cool stuff. He's got potential. He's got mix-ups. He's got range. He's got tracking. Crazy combos. And as I said in the very beginning, he always looks badass when he's doing it. So I hope you feel the same way. Check out some Geese, learn how to play him, and better yet, learn how to defend him, because he's going to be everywhere. As soon as word gets out that he's got these crazy combos, people are going to jump on that train. So you're going to have to learn how to defend yourself against it. So thanks for tuning in. please subscribe to the channel down below. Check out all my other Tekken videos. You can watch me play everything online, including this game and tons of Geese at twitch.tv/mastermind6000. And that's the same address for my Facebook and Twitter and all of that. Mastermind6000, and just find me anywhere. Follow all that stuff. Keep up, and thanks again.